Hello, 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 hello. येतोय का पाव? हॅलो, येतोय. हॅलो, हॅलो, कमी कर. हॅलो, 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 हॅलो. अजून कमी कर आवाज. हॅलो, हॅलो, हॅलो. बोललो की डायरेक्ट फाटून राहिला आवाज. झालं ना भाऊ, हो भाऊ, जाऊ नका, थांबा. जाऊ नका म्हटलं, आता झालंच.
हो. Hello, 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 check one. Hello, hello, check 1 2 3. Hello, check. Hello, hello, check 1 2 3. Hello, 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 check one. Hello, 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 check one. Hello, hello, check 1 2. Hello, hello, check, check, check. Hello, hello, check. Hello, hello. आवाज नाही येत आहे? Hello, 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 check. Hello, 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 check. Hello.
हॅलो. गुड आफ्टरनून सर. हॅलो सर, एम ऑडिबल? त्याचा गेज खोल. हां हो 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 ठीक आहे. सर तुमचं अनम्यूट करा ना तिथनं.
येतोय आवाज आता?
हो येतोय सर आता आवाज.
हा ठीक आहे.
ठीक.
Went through this. Yeah, I did further today. Oh, good. Are they recording this?
I think I will tell you. Let them record. We can record. Yes.
So that right will be holding, they will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Record का संपूर्ण. Hello. 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 Record का म्हटलं. ठीक. Okay, thank you. It's recording as well as YouTube Live is there.
No, this is coming over the years. And we are giving the example of these foreign companies. These companies sell.
Hello.
A very good afternoon, everyone. I am Ara Sayyeda.
And I, Ashlesha Arsade.
Welcome you all on behalf of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Dental College and Hospital to the auspicious event to celebrate 91st birth anniversary of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh ji. Silver Jubilee of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan, 16 glorious years of our institute, Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Dental College and Hospital. We are also commemorating a decade of research and innovation in healthcare from 2018 to 2028. There are countless lives and stories, but only few are worthy of being celebrated. One such life is of the legendary Swargiya Shri Dadasaheb Kalmegh ji. With unmatched maturity of thoughts and inspirational ideas, Swargiya Shri Dadasaheb Kalmegh contributed tremendously in the field of education and selflessly stood for the upliftment of the society. His vision is the foundation of our institution with the belief that there are no limits to learning. As long as curious minds exist, there will always be something to discover, and these discoveries lead to innovation.
The real source of wealth and capital in this new era are not material things. It is the human mind, the human spirit, the human imagination, and our faith in the future. A future whose framework will be the amalgamation of innovation and entrepreneurship. To mark this special occasion, our institution has organized a series of presentations by renowned personalities on the theme Dentistry Beyond Conventional Clinical Practices, Innovation and Application. The first part will be conducted today in the virtual mode by our esteemed guest speakers, Honourable Dr. Aniruddha Pandit and Honourable Mr. Rajendra Nandwana. The second and the concluding part will be conducted on 4th of December, which will include guest lectures by Honourable Dr. Stewart Harding and Honourable Dr. Man Singh Pawar. To begin with today's scientific session, I would now like to request respected Dean Dr. Nilesh Pardi sir to introduce our guest speakers.
Thank you, students. Good afternoon, everyone. And it gives me immense pleasure today to introduce the most eminent speakers we have for our online session today. The two speakers, I would like to introduce our first guest speaker, that is none other than Honourable Dr. Aniruddha Pandit. He is currently the Vice Chancellor of Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, and has been a visiting professor at University of Cape Town and University of California, BITS Pilani, among many others. He is an illustrious elected fellow of various prestigious academics such as United States National Academy of Engineering, Indian National Science Academy, and the World Academy of Sciences, aptly justifying the quote that research fuels innovation. He is a renowned researcher in various fields like sonochemistry, nanomaterial synthesis, and cellulose dissolution, with 446 publications and 34 patents to his credit. He is a true inspiration to the researcher in everyone, and we have been really fortunate to receive his guidance on various occasions. We are honored to have such a renowned personality with us today. We welcome you, sir, on behalf of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Dental College and Hospital. We welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us. Our next speaker for today is Honourable Mr. Rajendra Nandwana. He is the Managing Director of Kalabhai Karson Private Limited, a trusted name in the field of dentistry since decades. With his dynamic leadership, vision, and hard work, he has taken the Kalabhai Karson Private Limited to great heights, making it a leading manufacturing brand of specialized dental materials such as plasters, dye stones, and orthocal in India and exporting them all over the world. It was the first Indian company to exhibit at Asian Pacific Dental Congress in Malaysia and to participate at the world's largest dental show in Germany. With the exceptional variety and unmatched standards of their products, they have always met the highest level of performance, reliability, and safety, and have managed to captivate their entire dental community. We are truly privileged to have such prominent personality with us today. And this is going to be an interactive session where Dr. Pandit will be asking relevant questions to Kalabhai sir, Nandwana sir, and Nandwana sir will be addressing those questions from which we will be enlightened. So without wasting much of time, I request the two eminent speakers to please take on the stage and continue further. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pandit.
Thank you, Dr. Padi. And I would just like to thank the organizers of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh College of Dentistry and Dental Engineering. And this is my second visit, or maybe third visit, but second time I've been able to address you all. I hope I'm audible to the audience. If you can just raise your hand or say loudly, yes, fair enough. Thank you very much. Now, rather than just a discourse or a lecture, what I thought of giving you a sort of a thinking process which goes into either a development of a product or a development of a process to get to the final product form. And in this particular discussion or a debate or a storytelling, you will try to understand what are the requirements for somebody to be successful, for somebody to be so rigorous in terms of efforts as well as sticking to the quality as well as his ethics in the business when it is being run. So what I thought that I will keep on asking questions to Mr. Nandwana, and he will keep on answering these particular questions. And wherever I feel that he is in a position to supplement, I will ask relevant subsequent questions. At the same time, I may also add few points to it. And at the end of it, we will try to summarize what is the learning of the day today. Now, the whole session will last for about maybe 50 minutes or 1 hour. And after that, we will leave some time for you to ask any relevant questions which you may have at the end of the presentation or the end of the discussion. And we will take that opportunity to answer those questions as well. So Rajen bhai, thank you for joining me on this particular occasion, and thank you for sharing your experiences with this young audience of future dentists and some practicing dentists in terms of the faculty which is present in here. Can you start with a story? This how Kalabhai really started its operation and how did it get into the field of dentistry?
Uh, First of all, very good afternoon to everybody at the Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Dental College and Hospital. I extend my heartiest greetings and congratulations on the celebration of a decade of research and innovation in healthcare, Silver Jubilee of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan, 16 glorious years of the institution, and 91st birthday anniversary of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh. I'm also very thankful to Shri Sharad Kalmegh sir and Dr. Aniruddha Pandit sir for considering me for this talk today. The story of Kalabhai is more or less 105 years old. And that's the time in 1918, my grandfather started the company. It's a story of struggle right from day one because my grandfather came walking about 800 kilometers from Saurashtra to Bombay in search of a job. Very poor man, no money in the pocket. And he was a born artist. He struggled, worked at some small company. And in those days, the salaries were not sufficient to even feed the family. And last salary that I know from my dad, it was maybe 12 annas a day or something like this. And the boss wouldn't give him a raise for last 3 years or something. And that's the time he got an offer. And to the good fortune of our company, Tata Sons was the first client in 1918. And he got an offer for doing a huge contract in plaster of Paris false ceiling. And that's how the company started. My grandfather, of course, had no money in his pocket. He started the company with some borrowed finance from his friend, returned the same within 6 months. And ever since that day, the company is working on internal finances. And thank God for that. Coming further to this, that my grandfather realized to do the plaster of ceiling work, we have to produce a good quality of plaster because thoroughly dissatisfied since the whole idea was to produce exceptional quality work because we served only exceptional, very high profile clientele. And under the circumstances, everything must fall in line, whether it was material, whether it was workmanship, whether it was design, everything had to be at the topmost standards. And I don't want to speak too much about the legacy and the work that has been carried out all across India by the company. But this manufacturing of this plaster was a big challenge because we neither had what we call as a calcining oven. So the whole idea started that where do I make my plaster? He approached a baker, and the baker, bakery is, the ovens are redundant or not working during the daytime because the breads are made at night to be delivered in the morning. So he says, I would send you a bullock cart load of gypsum, which we would put it over there in our own trays in your oven. You bake it for us, and we would take it back. And that idea seemed to have worked. And for a few years, he went on doing that, brought the big gypsum stone back to the small factory that we had at that time, hammered it with wooden battens to make powder, and converted it to plaster of Paris. And that seemed to have worked for him.
So basically, Rajen bhai, the company started as a plaster of Paris as a product. And as I understand from the chemical process, you start with the gypsum, which is CaSO4 2H2O. And then it needs to be dehydrated to make it into a plaster of Paris, so to speak.
Yes.
And then when you add a certain quantity of water to it, it takes up and starts solidifying.
Yes, sir.
And that is how the plaster of Paris is made.
Yes, sir.
So the basic requirement is heating it up to a specific temperature so that the water of crystallization is taken out. And then you add water of crystallization or water which is required during the setting processes when you are actually converting it as a usable plaster of Paris.
Yes, sir.
But what made you think and move in the direction of dental plaster?
When I joined the business, I think 1967, due to strange circumstances, when my grandfather died and my father was very alone, and we had huge number of works going on here and there. Until that time, the company was making two varieties of plaster and surplus quantities were being sold in the market. Now, when I entered the business, we started looking at a refinement in the quality of plasters and manufacturing them. And unfortunately, there was not much of a clue. Then, making the ovens electric and so, but these were not good ideas. The current plant location where we are there, we started looking to develop that, and we started our first calcination plant over there, which was modified and made into a high-tech calcination system. And then we started making reasonable, or not reasonable, but excellent quality of beta hemihydrate, which was useful for not only commercial, which was a low value product, but it started to be used for example, orthopedic bandages, sanitary ware, ceramic ware, tableware, and slowly and steadily a quality mark was achieved, because the only way we could survive as a company or back to our reputation that we are a quality oriented company and we cannot make anything substandard. Then came a point to think that the value addition that we are doing is not sufficient. And we started looking around. That's the time my father said, do you know King Cement? And I said, no, I don't know it, but I have heard about it and it's useful for using it in construction and flooring material and etc. And he says, you can use it for dentistry. And I said, really? And I did look around, and I thought it was impossible to use King Cement as a product in dentistry, because it was an anhydride in the end, and there is no way that you could use that product. And we started looking and trying to look for a solution, because at that time, entire dental plaster scenario was controlled by foreign suppliers, had real difficulty to bring those products in. And there were a lot of curbs, and import situations were not very conducive. At the same time, duties were horrendous. And the local production, which was at that time the one multinational company, was also not up to the mark. So that time, I went to meet the head of the prosthodontic department at GDC, Dr. S.M. Joshi, who unfortunately is no longer in this world today. But he said, you can go to my library and see some books and see what you can find over there. That's the time I looked at a book called Dental Materials, which everybody would know from Skinner and Phillips. And looking at the gypsum chapter, there were only 2 lines written about the process. And these 2 lines did not provide me any suggestion at all how I could make plaster with those 2 lines, But over the time and period, deciphering what was written in Skinner and Phillips, I found a way, borrowing my wife's pressure cooker in the kitchen. And we did some experiments, of course, with a lot of resistance from my wife, who was fearful that I would spoil the pressure cooker. And I had to put down the deposit to use that cooker, so that if I spoiled it, she would buy a new one. And then within a week, we had some breakthrough to manufacture what we generally know as alpha hemihydrate. And I was really excited. And from there on, this chapter went on. The first supplies were not the dental industry. The first supplies were made to sanitary ware, because they use a large quantity of this high strength material for case molds and other applications, the ceramic industry, and that's how we started this. So this is the prelude or R&D to the plaster manufacturing process adopted by Kalabhai back in old days.
Rajen bhai, but in terms of the basic mechanical or physical properties of the plaster of Paris conventional used in the construction industry and the plaster of Paris which is used in the dentistry, you said that there has to be some difference. So, what is that mechanical difference which is important? And that mechanical difference is because of what, according to you?
If you look at dentistry, the plasters are classified now actually in 5 classes. The class 1 and class 5 are, class 1 is almost dead. The class 5 is used very, very selective in small quantities. So if we compare class 2, which is a normal beta hemihydrate, which also we could say that is used in construction or in other general purpose applications, is a large volume material, which means the plaster has a high surface area requiring a lot of water to mix, and consequently, it's also very weak. Now, when we make dental models or replicating impressions from alginates or polyvinyl Silix 1 material, especially for high-end prostheses such as crown and bridge and single tooth replacement, also preparations of margin by the shoulder, retraction cord techniques and other things. These plaster, which are commercial plasters, cannot withstand that pressure or working with hand instruments and the burrs or grinding tools, etc. So you need basically material which is high strength, has got compact structure, and that is why it is identified as alpha hemihydrate. And these products, the difference compared to a normal plaster, a construction plaster would have water requirement of about 65 to 70 for 100 grams of powder, whereas for the alpha hemihydrate, the thing just goes as low as 30. So the 30 grams, 30 milli of water for every 100 grams. Consequently, it develops a very high strength. And the next one would be the dye stone, which is working at 20 milli of water. And also the strength is twice as much as concrete. So this is the basic differences between the construction material and, but this is, as Pandit sir has just asked, the difference is in the crystal formations during calcination. That's the way I would look at it.
So, in terms of the 3 forms which you mentioned, which requires different quantities of water, you have beta hydrate and then you have alpha hydrate, and alpha hydrate also requires much lesser quantity of water. In terms of crystal shape, if one looks at it under the electron micrograph, how would you, because what I know of, these crystal structures typically are orthorhombic or in the form of needle shape or sharp edge crystals. So which are which and which are recommended for dental plaster
So
use?
those would be, sir, the class 2 materials with monoclinic shape with lot of fissures and crevices and porosity. Also large surface area, irregular shape, because of which also they consume a much higher quantity of water for mixing. But when you look at the class 3 material, these materials are, I wouldn't say perfectly regular shape, but better than what you observed in class.
Lesser edges
Lesser
and
edges,
rounded off corners.
rounded off, also less fissures, yet it would have some kind of, some crevices and some porosities on the surface. But when you go to class 4, it's absolutely well-shaped crystal. almost no porosity at all, and no crevices or fissures. And that's why, because it's so compact, the surface area is less, and therefore it also takes much less water to mix it in. As a consequences, the air permeability or pore volume between the two crystals is much less. Porosity is much less, and therefore the strength is very high.
Thank you. Now, why I'm specifically asking this question is typically I am not aware of what are the typical teachings in a dental college and to what extent the crystal structures associated or different crystal structures which are associated with alpha hemihydrate or hemihydrates of gypsum and their linkages with the mechanical strength requirement of dental plaster is explained in the books. And that's the reason why I say, because I feel that the dentistry material essentially talks about the usage of this material, but it is important for the user of that particular material, such as a dentist, to understand what type of material is most suited for what type of application which is under consideration. And that's the reason why I thought of asking this particular question. So it is not just that you use any cement and then you do all these things either for filling up the cavity or dental plaster. You need to have some specific properties for that. And those are the properties which you mentioned in terms of mechanical strength, in terms of water requirement, in terms of setting time, in terms of workability, in terms of surface finish. All these are extremely important consideration. And any dentist who's essentially want to acquire a fame and name needs to be aware of all these properties rather than just using as an artisan which is capable of building some material for your teeth. Thank you for explaining. You please add.
No, sir, I wanted to enlarge or, say something more on this.
Yeah, please.
Is that a responsible manufacturer, number one, after classifying his product as class 2, class 3, class 4, also indicates what is the use of that product, where it can be used in dentistry. Number two, the values which are written over there are to be guaranteed. A consumer such as a dentist, a dental laboratory, dental institution have no means to analyze these figures, numbers, declarations, except the setting time. And the end result, whether the plaster is strong or not strong, or the plaster has warped, has given more expansion. So far, the models have not turned out to be good. These are the only very, very primary observations that they can make. In my opinion, please forgive me, this is not a kind of advertising campaign, but we have not had many complaints in 55 years of my career at Kalabhai. I mean, we get maybe 2 or 3 complaints in a year, and I call them complaint. These are the complaints of ignorance, which means the standard basic protocol, which is well explained on the packaging itself, is not followed. Unfortunately, such people have also long-term experience, but they have got used to using the plaster by a judgment developed by their own, but they have not looked at the basic protocol of how much water do I need, nor measured it, nor weighed it, and they start using it and they would come up with a complaint. And fortunately for me, knowing our system so well, these complaints have no place in our history. So this is something that can help a consumer to see that this product is well illustrated for its uses. And almost for every indication, we have a product starting from articulation plaster or model plaster or orthodontic stone or dye stone class 4. So I think the entire spectrum of products are delivered by our company.
Thank you, Rajen Bhai. But what it clearly indicates that in addition to your own experience and practice, if the dentist has to ensure the final quality of the product which he has used in the dental activity or dentistry, he or she must follow the clear instructions which have been given on the package and not just go by the judgment, assuming that it will work. Because many a times I believe and I understand that there are subtle variations which happen, and if a supplier of this particular product is aware of that and he makes the final consumer aware of what are the precautions which he has to take, which he or she has to take, then those precautions need to be taken seriously before that material is put to use. Now, you did mention about different sets of products. Can you elaborate a bit more in terms of how these products essentially evolved in the area of dentistry?
Well, I mean, we were, if you look back in the world of dentistry, so the industry was, I would say, in a primitive stage. And there is a very interesting title given here by Sharad sir about innovation and application. Now, if we look at innovations, the innovations in dentistry were there even 2000 years ago. In the Roman Empire and the Egyptian Empire, because the kings who lost or became edentulous, as we call it, lost teeth. They wanted to look young, they wanted to look good, and there are instances cited in history books that extracted human teeth, but they tried to be implanted. Unfortunately, there's no further reference whether the treatment was successful or the outcome of treatment was successful or not. But a couple of 100 years ago, there is a great example about George Washington, the President of the United States, that his denture, two dentures, as a matter of fact, were made from extracted teeth. And the final one was made from the ivory of hippopotamus. And
hippopotamus has almost a 12 feet, 12 inches long, two teeth.
They managed it somehow.
Yeah.
And it is, I mean, I'm no expert in dentistry, but I'm sure that in the audience there are very learned professors and people sitting over there. But they said the enamel and the dentinal is much more closer to the human teeth, and that's why it was used. And it was a common practice in the 18th century. So it was an innovation, in my opinion.
Yes, it was, indeed.
And then you come from there to the instances of what we call as beginning of the modern dentistry, then took the development of acrylics, after which started the amalgams, and then of course, there were other materials. But if you look at the acrylics, they were primarily the restorative for people who have become either fully or partially edentulous. So I had said a few days back that the conservation of dentistry was almost not there, or teeth was not there in the beginning of the century. It was very difficult to conserve the teeth. And in India, I remember cases way back in 1960s and 70s, especially in the rural area, where people, even their young age, were made completely edentulous because they had pyorrhea. So this was shocking because I personally feel that having a natural dentition is definitely a huge contributor to our health. Then, as we came towards the 50s, there people started looking, especially the celebrities. They were not happy looking at their teeth because something made from acrylic or otherwise, especially when it came to single tooth replacement. Then they said, what is the solution? So the demand did not come from the dentist. The demand came from people who are public figures, celebrities, movie stars, Hollywood and Bollywood, and also extremely wealthy people. And this is the time I recognize that the birth of porcelain fused to metal as a crown and bridge material came into being. And along with that, later on in maybe next 10 or 15 years came a completely metal-free ceramics. So this is how the progression has gone. And every time this progression took place, it also demanded supplementary upgradation of materials that is needed to support fabrication of such processes. And therefore, it was also for us that uh, we realized that if these things are coming, especially late 80s or beginning of 90s, where aggressive drive was worldwide about metal fused to ceramics applications, and then we would have to provide material which would support such a prosthetics to take place. Secondly, there's something which is probably not known to the normal dentist or dental industry, that if you look at the US dollar, the US dollar in 1925 was 10 paisa, just 10 paisa. By the time in 1980, it had risen to 7 rupees and 86 paisa. But at that particular time, there were a lot of curbs of imports and importation of material. And the import duty was 325%. And you can imagine how must have been, because we depended on everything from overseas, the casting investment, the machines, the chair, or for example, hand pieces, micromotors, everything we needed, materials, we had to import it. There was hardly anybody doing anything over here. And how they must have managed all this is still a mystery to me. And the same dollar in 2000 came to 45 rupees, and then today it is almost at 83 rupees. The effect of import has been catastrophic for the masses at large, especially the dentist, because they have to spend a lot of money, especially the dentists who are stepping out of their graduation and want to start a practice. It's a deterrent to use those products unless they are located or unless they are blessed with a lot of money in a metropolis. But in rural area, this becomes a big, huge problem. And I would say that these kind of developments, that took place in India had a lot of bad effect, but the good effects were that as the new materials started coming, industries, traders, dental associations, and we at Kalabhai also started promoting what we call as the second part. If you look at innovation and the application, we started looking at the application part to realize that education is a must for the application to succeed. And this is the time we brought between the year 91 to 2001 great eminent luminaries in the dental world. The professors, you would know the founder or the person who invented the implant system, or let's say the interface between the bone and the titanium, Professor Brannemark, Herbert Schillingberg, Hannes Wachtel, Peter Velvet, Ernst Eggenbath. I mean, these are the just few, but we have endless list of people whom we brought to India to educate the dentist at large or dispense the knowledge which was overseas. Also, a lot of dentists started traveling abroad to attend to the courses. So all of a sudden, we saw a kind of a dental revolution happening in India. And therefore, the material had to complement, and we had to introduce a higher quality of material in dentistry.
So basically, what the story which you just mentioned indicated two facts. One is the innovation was essentially driven by the demand by the final user of the product to a certain extent.
Yes.
And second, when the user base increased, the cost consideration started coming into picture, which is always going to be the case. And then the innovation, which was probably done much more in the Western world, and then it came to India rather than genuine innovation occurring in India itself.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, can you, if at all any available, can you recite one or two examples from Indian side where India was able to innovate something in the area of dentistry? If absolutely none, then is there any scope for the young audience which is sitting here? What is the area which is required? What is required to do that is a different story, but at least you should have an objective to innovate something. So, which are the areas which you recommend, which you think are still amenable for innovation?
Sir, I have subdivided innovation into three parts. So, the innovation for business growth, this is where we fit in, where we were making ordinary plaster and we wanted to do value addition. So, that's the first part. Second part is innovation due to patient's demand. This is where some of the example I cited about, aesthetics and the look, it's the expectation of the patient.
Yeah.
I look at myself and I say, look, I want my teeth to look like natural dentition, number one. I want my hair to look as if they were just there all the time in my life. My skin must be radiant and without any. So these are the expectations. Maybe at times they are not realistic, but they come from the patients. And since they travel abroad, they see a lot of these kind of treatments possible overseas. And that's how I think our counterparts, because I personally believe our clinicians are not inferior to anybody in the world. They are very able, they are very intelligent, they are very hardworking, and they can achieve something, if not better, equal to what is achieved worldwide. So this second part was because the patient demanded this. And the third part, innovation for sustainability. Now this is very, very crucial, because if I had not graduated from an ordinary, what we call as a lower class, not even lower class, I think it's not the right word, but an ordinary quality of dental plasters. And we have segmented the two qualities because there are certain uses where you need not waste money on very high or expensive products, and very high quality products, which is one of our range. There are 4 products over there, which are also needed for primary markets such as some of the European countries, advanced countries. So, this, if we had not developed, we probably would have not sustained in this market. So it was innovation for sustainability. And we are very happy that we did that innovation to carry on and sustain in the market till date.
I think why I specifically asked this particular question is the following: is Indians are extremely good at jugaad. But that jugaad, unfortunately, is not scalable. In a sense, a dentist with the same set of tools and materials is able to innovate. And that somehow the word spreads that this fellow is good at it and this fellow does an excellent job, because the access to the resources available to him or any other person is exactly the same. But how to utilize those particular resources and expertise to make the best out of what is available is what I would call it as a jugaad. So then everybody flocks to that particular dentist, and he gets name, fame, or whatever it is. And then he starts charging, demand and supply, charging more and more, or waiting time increases, you don't get appointments, so on and so forth. So this jugaad part is really in terms of usage of the tools and the materials which are available in an innovative way. Now, this is probably a question which I would like to put to the people in the college as well, is how many faculty contribute to publication of research papers in dental industry journals, which talks about the innovation or which talks about the new methods or materials or the usage of the same in terms of dental practice. Maybe towards the end of it, somebody can comment on that. So my objective in asking this particular question is, assuming the fact that we are still going to be dependent, and we are dependent to a large extent on import of majority of the materials which are there, and even the new materials which are being developed are not necessarily developed in India, apart from few, let's say, sundry efforts which are being made through ICT and Dadasaheb Kalmegh College of Dentistry in terms of development of new materials. And we have had some success. But again, the way you have pointed out this particular fact, that getting that acceptance by the people to a new material is going to be extremely difficult, because who wants to be the guinea pig? Who wants to try it out first? So that's the big question which needs to be done.
But I think the fraternity at large has been a guinea pig of multinationals as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
let's accept it, because let's take, for example, metal-free ceramics. If you see between the year 95 to 2005, 2010, metal-free ceramics went through a lot of different proposals, and most of the systems and machines are no longer, they are redundant, and people who invested in this technology have been losers.
Yeah.
And going back to Pandit's question about jugaad, I think, you cannot, it's basically a decision, individual decision, where you want to be. You want to be at the top, or you want to be along with the crowd, or you want to be behind the crowd. So this is where, and nothing is easy in this country. You can take it from my own life. Maybe I'm a little dumb, so I have been left behind, but it's a struggle. The business is run in almost an impossible situation, but thank God that we have been preachers of quality and quality management. So this is not going to come to you easy. That's what I would tell the youngsters today. You have to really work for it, and you are the decider what kind of practice, and you want to be second to none in whatever you deliver. So this is total quality management situation, where it's just not your work, it's your clinic, your appliances, your equipment, the time from which somebody calls the clinic for an appointment or the diagnosis. And if you are unsure of the final prognosis, let's say there may be a patient who can't be treated because that particular expertise is not within the clinic. I'm talking at a very small level, not at hospital level or multidisciplinary clinics, large clinics, but smaller clinics, then it might be sensible to even refuse that patient, because you unnecessarily would bring
Bad
kind
name,
of
yeah.
bad name to your own practice and a disappointment to your own self. There are failures in foreign clinics also. I've known them. I've seen the cases. But let's not talk about negatives. I would say that, walking your way through the non-acceptance of something which is not right has to be rigidly followed. Which means there is nothing like jugaad, there's nothing like chalta hai, chalega. Let the patient crib about it later on. I mean, this doesn't work. Secondly, speaking about dental materials, I would divide these materials. I mean, technically, they are divided into three major groups. So there is an auxiliary dental material, which is range of impression materials, plasters, waxes, investment or cutting and polishing and finishing tools. And there's endless list of these materials, because uh, there are thousands of materials used in dentistry, small and big. Then you go to direct restoratives, which are bonding agents, resin bonded composites, and cements and amalgams. Then there is indirect restoratives, casting alloys, metal, precious, non-precious, both ceramics, prosthetic polymers, resins, implants, and emerging technologies of CAD/CAM and 3D. So all these, if you look at it, there is a sea change happening in last 10 to 15 years. And now much more, because 3D is making a very aggressive uh, intrusion into the dental scenario. The chair side, treatment by the dentist. These are all the new things which I am hearing, or I've heard, or I've seen. But the polymer dentistry is one of the area where India can find a lead, because polymers as photopolymers or metal polymers, ceramic metal polymers or biopolymers or thermoplastic, out of which I think photopolymers are finding a great chance for Indian uh, industries or Indian dental manufacturers to take it to the next level, along with the next interdisciplinary subject, which is we are so good in computers and computer science, and with help of dentists. So two of them working as a team, you can develop many more things. These are the possible areas for future. So I think looking at all this scenario, there's no easy way to do something. I mean, please, if you read Febel's story that this fellow started and within 5 years or 10 years, he became a multimillionaire and fast money and fast results. I wish I was one of them, but I've been struggling for 55 years to run this tiny little company called Kalabhai, and I'm still very much interested to work, because I think it's always a long term which brings you this great results in achieving things. So you have to look at long term perspective rather than doing something short term.
No, I couldn't agree with you more, Rajen bhai, because I have also been associated with some evaluations. An excellent example was IIT Delhi Mechanical Engineering Department and a dental college who collaborated. The Mechanical Engineering Department did a complete CAD/CAM of the dental implant which goes into the bone, the threading pattern which is going to be required, the cutting tools which are going to be required. And the material science department of that then decided what is the compatibility of this, because due to the temperature variations, the coefficient of thermal expansions of these two materials are significantly different. So they need to be matched, because when you're eating something which is very hot or drinking something which is very hot, or on the other hand, there's something cold as well. And if there's a differential expansion and contraction between the two, you can imagine the pain which the person has to go through in this.
Yes.
So what I am trying to indicate that it is essential for innovation from dental colleges to collaborate to collaborate with either chemical engineers or mechanical engineers, especially chemical engineers or material scientists in terms of development of the new materials. But the demand in terms of the properties of those new materials should come from the end user of those particular materials, also in terms of implants. And at the same time, they can also collaborate with mechanical engineers who have the capability of CAD/CAM development of tooling, then essentially mapping of the jaws and mapping of the mouth, and then come up with basically a complete modeling, as you correctly pointed out,
Yes.
rather than sort of fit and try and polish this and then try it again. Either अच्छा लगता है क्या, उधर दुखता है क्या, उधर दुखता है क्या. I think all these things can be avoided if you start collaborating between these two. So a collaboration with academic institutes having completely different expertise is going to be a key factor in terms of any developments which are there. Now, we have talked generally about the practices, materials, so on and so forth. Let's turn our attention slightly to the equipments which are being used. And again, you briefly mentioned about the fact that all the equipments again are completely imported. I would also like you to elaborate in terms of what sort of expertise exists in Kalabhai in terms of supply of material or maintenance of these materials or repair of these equipments which are currently used in the
I
dentistry.
think till 2004, Kalabhai was responsible for some of the top of the world companies as a distributor, service provider. But a decisive turn had to be taken where some of the key companies, they came directly into the market in violation of the contract, which I don't want to elaborate much. But from that time, we are currently only serving two products, which one of them is a micromotor. We are fully competent to deal in servicing those motors. We have been handling this product, and this was also would have been a very good example for innovation. But I think we are running short of time, so
I think it's okay.
I don't want to talk about it. From the brushless motors to carbon brush motor to brushless motors, and it brought a paradigm of change in performances of micromotors used in dental laboratories worldwide. Absolutely fine engineering product. Now, if I turn to India, I do not agree that India cannot produce these things. It's just that there are several segments of the market. For example, students or teaching institutions, they want a setup which is not impinging on their budgets. So probably a person who's starting practice, I mean, I can't expect that person unless the person can afford it, a very high-end dental chair and other equipments. If the practice is in metropolis, the place itself is going to cost a bomb. In places like Bombay, Delhi, I think you have to rob a bank to start a practice.
Yeah.
So all this said and done, the kind of equipments that we are seeing could have been made better, could have been world class, because we only looked at Indian market. If we started looking at export market, I mean, this is something that we did in 91, that the upper quality products helped us to travel overseas.
Yeah.
So sustainability came into the option. And if the product is met, like, I mean, if I sell a chair for 2 lakhs of rupees or 1.5 lakhs of rupees, what do I expect when a opposite product from overseas, a top end product, would be 25 lakhs or 50 lakhs? So, it's a question of whether I want to make a Rolls Royce or whether I want to make a Volkswagen, and the financial appropriation for what I make. Therefore, everything, I mean, I don't want to say anything discriminatory to the Indian industry, but an attitude to see that what you make in India is not only made in India and made for India, but it's made for the world. I mean, this attitude can only help you to sustain, to make you go worldwide with your production, and then can help you sustain over a long period of time. I think that would
Yeah,
be.
so basically what you're saying is whatever new product or a new process which you develop should have a global acceptability rather than acceptability limited
Yes.
to Indian conditions.
Yes.
Because many a times nowadays, people from India have started realizing the effect of brand, the effect of quality. Till that time, whatever is cheap is good enough, was it is. But as the level of earning, all the living standards increase, people understand the value of brand, why brand has a value because of the quality associated with that. I'm not saying it is universally true,
Yes.
but most of the time, the kind of quality checks which the brand does in terms of rejection of the unsuitable material.
We fall there
Yeah,
in that category.
correct. And you also mentioned about Kalabhai being a first company which was recognized with IS specification.
1980.
1980. So that clearly indicated two things. Is one, a certain standard of SOPs which are to be followed.
Yes.
And if you follow those SOPs, the product which is expected is likely to be the product
Absolutely.
which you
I
would
mean,
need at the end.
there are no two doubts because it's a strange company. Kalabhai is a very strange company. We don't have a marketing department. We don't have a sales manager. We don't have salesmen on the field. And this has become more or less a household name in the country. And it's only because we have been producing quality production. See, I think when we entered the market 1976 or 77, not later than 78, till now, there's not a single rejection. There's not a single rejection from any other production that we have for other industries. So it's, solid SOP and solid quality control management, which exists at Kalabhai. And we try our best, although there are huge problems we face as an industry. And, I would make people think twice if they want to venture into an industry, that they would say that, no, I don't want those headaches.
But this is exactly what I am saying is, in spite of so many years of practice in an industry, can somebody move away from the camera? Somebody is standing in front of the camera.
Thank you.
Don't stand in front of the camera, please. Yeah, thank you. Is in spite of working in an industry for 60, 70 years, you decided to come to ICT and start looking at the entire gypsum story once again and the kind of realization which you have made in terms of the processes which are actually involved. It is quite surprising, just to sort of give a story, is you see some of these limestones which have been used in the old constructions, and you said that there have been certain qualities of the limestone which has strength which is twice that of a cement.
Yeah, the gypsum lime mortar. If you see even the pyramids.
Yeah.
This is gypsum lime mortar.
Yeah.
And also, the old houses, the ceilings were done with gypsum lime mortar combination. And they stood there for 100 years, there was no problem.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So the expertise does exist at that point of time. Yes. Maybe it is not documented, or whatever is there, it is lost, or whatever.
It's lost because the production capabilities, the way you have to produce, there are no buyers, first of all. Nobody wants to touch it. No architects wants to support it. We were very thick till 1980. And one of the standing monument that you can see today is the Tata Theatre, NCPA.
Yeah.
It's a marvel of plasterwork.
Yes.
Complete marvel. Because each module over there are 170 modules. Each module is 250 kilos in weight.
No.
Single piece casting. And that's done. It's a mind-blowing and a work done without any working drawings from the American architects.
Okay.
So it was mind-blowing because it produced the results that was asked for. Complete acoustic, no microphone, no loudspeaker.
Correct.
1,040 people sit in the auditorium And in every seat, you can hear the sound at the same level. This is the miracle of that project. So we fortunately are blessed to be recipient of our years and years of experience. And even then, this experience is not sufficient. That
it's always a learning. Learning is.
and I'm learning every day in your company. I'm learning every day something new.
That's very kind of you to say that. So I think I'm just going to sum up and then again leave the last word for Rajan Pai to say something. Is for the past 1 hour, you can see what we have been discussing is the evolution of dentistry and what is really required for innovation as well as implementation or translation of that particular innovation to the actual practice to make it available to the end user or a consumer. So to conclude what I see, and if I want to summarize whatever has been discussed, two things are required, and I think Rajen Bhai will also elaborate on that, is the attitude which is necessary for the young practitioners of dentistry that they have to remove this chalta hai attitude. They need to have a drive and an itch to do something with whatever they are learning in the college or whatever they want to translate it into societal transformation or societal knowledge or societal practices. So you need to have that desire to do something with whatever you have learned. Second thing, which is equally important, is whatever you have learned, the knowledge creation is a continuous process. So whenever you learn something, you need to question that particular knowledge or that particular information. Now, once you start questioning the information, the real knowledge comes. So information is available in the books or internet or Google, whatever it is. But when you start questioning that particular information, the real knowledge or real understanding comes, and that understanding is the one which will allow you to innovate. So attitude first in terms of being able to do something. Second, accept the fact that no process or a product is ever complete or ever matured. The processes as well as the product keeps on improving, keeps on evolving. And this is a continuous process of evolution, very similar to the process of evolution of the society or the human mankind. And the same thing will continue. And third most important thing, which is important, is the ethics which you need to follow while performing your activities. That again, don't just try to compromise on it. And the fourth thing, which Rajen Bhai clearly pointed out, is whatever you do, have some set procedure, have a quality checks at each and every stage of the activity, and see you follow those quality steps and keep rectifying up, keep correcting yourself whenever you detect that you have deviated from the set goal. So this has been a fascinating discussion between Rajen Bhai. I would like to thank Rajen Bhai for this involvement or indulging, allowing our indulgence to question him and sharing his information, sharing his story about Kalabhai as well as dentistry. So I will stop here and leave the mic to Rajen Bhai to conclude in addition to whatever he wants to say. Please.
Thank you very much, sir. It's very kind of you to hear this from country's #1 scientist, as I know Dr. Pandit. And in short, quality has no full stop. You know, it's a constant journey that everybody keeps on making. Because the world is dynamic, time is dynamic, everything changes every now and then. You can see a lot of deviations from what you did yesterday till today. And there is something that is bothering me for a long time is the social responsibility of running industries, or for that matter, anything else. Now, when I say social responsibility, we have adopted measures in last 15, 20 years at Kalabhai, whereby whatever we are demanding from nature, from world, are reduced drastically. And we have sought what we call as the green industry. And similarly, there can also be a green dentistry. So in terms of a green dentistry, there are some shocking revelations, which I just want to enlighten at closure of this fantastic session, is in USA alone, 25 million liters of water goes to drain from dental clinics and hospitals. And that's a huge quantity of water. Again, this water has a lot of nonsense, such as 2,500 kg of amalgam mercury laden goes to waste. They are also talking about disposal versus washables. Water recycling, I can cite you one example. The cricket stadium at Melbourne has 2,500 toilets. The water generated from the wash machines is collected in tanks underground, recycled, and used for flushing the toilets. So there is always, and these practices are also now coming into residential buildings in Bombay, I'm sure at other cities as well, because water is, something which we can work very easily. So water recycling, amalgam separations, plaster model recycling. Now this is, some institutions have tried it, and we can talk about it some other day, but this is also something whereby if we keep on using a material thoughtlessly, keep on wasting material, one industry example where I can give you, we made materials for giving better life cycles. What would happen? That the same industry, which was using twice the quantity of material, started using the half quantity, thereby reduced the waste to 50%. And these kind of things are very, very important for the survival of this world, the future generations ahead. And last but the least, thank you very much for your patient hearing. And I am also, once again, very thankful to the institution, also to the management, Sharad sir, and of course, great Dr. Pandit sir, for giving me an opportunity to be before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajen bhai. So let us conclude this session on this note, and the floor is now open to any questions. So may I request the Dean to ask the audience if audience would like to know anything more, would like to ask any questions related to any topic. Doesn't matter, it has to be related to dentistry. It can be general topic in terms of innovation, can be topic in terms of patenting, can be topic related to publication or research, anything, which I'm open to the questions. We both are.
Thank you so much, Pandit sir and Rajan sir, for enlightening us with this session. It was incredible. I must say it was incredible. The way you described the journey of dentistry, the evolution of modern dental materials, future vision for research and innovation in the field of dentistry, and what is the way forward. It was really, really very elaborative and very simply put. Like, I still remember studying gypsum in my first year BDS, but till date, I didn't understand it. But today, the way you explained it, it was so crisp and so simple and so easy that I wish we had some chemical engineers as teachers for dental materials and not dentists. Though we had great teachers, but nobody taught us like this. In just a matter of few minutes, the way you explained the journey of gypsum and the evolution and everything was tremendous, was just incredible. And I congratulate you, and I really appreciate the efforts that you both have put up to address this gathering and to enlighten us. And I really thank you for this session. And with that, I open the house for question and answers. So any staff members, any students, postgraduate students, interns, you have some questions, can we have an extra mic, please? We have only one mic. So may I request Department of Prosthodontics, the head of the department, Dr. Gade, Department of Endodontics, because they mainly deal with dental materials and all the modern materials. So can you just pass on the mic to them?
Thank you, sir. I'm a prosthodontist. I'm head of the department. Really, for a prosthodontic point of view, this dental stone and plaster of Paris is very much required. Is very much required for our fabrication of prostheses. So now I just wanted to know, sir, we have an investment material. Now, as you said,
That's
as you-
okay. It's okay,
It's
sir.
okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Investment material, what we are using it now. So as you said, that now the era of CAD/CAM is coming out. So what will be the role of investment material? Is it with like we type 1, whatever the gypsum product, as it vanished, will the investment materials also will be the same, it will fall into the same category in future? That
Sir,
is my...
thank you very much. I'm always very happy to speak to a prosthodontist. People in the, when we were the first company to go to the German show at Cologne, which is called the ITS, in 1995. So we are the first Indian company. And we made a lot of friends there. And some of these Germans are joking at us nowadays that be careful, you're going to be out of business. Let's put it the other way around, that no technology disappears from anywhere in a day or two. And even though amalgam is probably forbidden in several countries, still for a particular indication, it might have been used or continued to be used in India. Now, gold, or what we call as gypsum bonded investment for low fusing alloys. These, you had in the past alloys with melting temperature less than about 800 degrees centigrade. And these have almost disappeared from everywhere. Also, it's not very easy. But I really don't know if this particular indication is not possible to treat with any other prosthetic solution that you have from the current scenario. I mean, the cap can be something else. So why would you need gold investment? Because the machines now, it has taken a big blow. The casting section in a laboratory has taken the big blow, because the nickel chrome alloys and other alloys which are used in porcelain fused to ceramometals. I mean, these are ceramometals. They've taken a big blow. It might be practiced in a limited way, but I am not sure. I've heard in recent times about low fusing precious metal castings. Unless it's pure precious metal, such as palladium in combination with gold alloys, this could be a different story in implant superstructure also. But otherwise, I don't see. I think it is almost redundant now.
So, I mean, so is investment going to be redundant in the near
Yes,
future?
because if there is no industry demand, it's only manufactured for jewelry industry.
I sort of has a slightly different viewpoint here, mainly because the kind of utility of CFD, computational fluid dynamics, and the design of equipments, reactors in chemical engineering has been in existence almost for past 30 years or so. What that has definitely done, it has reduced the level of experimentation, but it hasn't completely stopped it. Because still, all these CFD simulation, which is CAD/CAM based simulations which you are going to carry out, are still approximate solutions to the mathematical equations. They are not analytical solutions. And whenever you have this approximation, a certain level of error, whether it is 10 to the power minus 5 or 10 to the power minus 6, that is still going to remain. So rather than doing 10 different experiments and arriving at a final configuration, all these CFD and CAD-CAM tools will allow you to reduce from 10 experiments to maybe 2 experiments, but it will not completely stop. One more thing which I have in mind, which is likely to make a big difference, is these 3D printing devices which are going to come out. Currently, 3D printing devices have a limitation in terms of what materials they use. The moment, as you correctly pointed out, low fusing material, low melting point materials can be processed using 3D printing materials, things are going to be completely different. It's going to be a completely new revolution. A complete set of teeth can be made using 3D printing once you have a mold available. And that mold is not actually going to be a mold, but mold is going to be a CAD-CAM based device, and you just trace the boundaries of it and you get the entire denture ready. So these things are going to happen, but I think we are at least 25 years to wait for those things to come into India. So doctor, I don't think you at least have 25, 30 years of additional practice to continue what you are practicing. I can't hear you. No, no.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, with great effort, you are doing so much innovations and you have come up with a gypsum product. Pardon, sir? Yeah. Sir, I usually see in clinics aspect what we practice, we pour the cast after impression, and finally we are throwing it into the dustbin. It really pricks actually with this. Can we, any suggestions or anything where it can be can it be used as, can be recycled? You just now you said about the recycling aspect. Can it be useful for any recycling later where we
Basically, the gypsum products, they were tried on a large scale for recycling, treated with aluminum sulfate solution.
So this was
But the product were used in the building construction because you see what happens when the plaster is mixed with water. Chemically, it turns back to gypsum as a CaSO4
yes, that's what we know. Yeah.
You know, and then the condition having reversed, people have tried to use these molds by soaking it into aluminum sulfate solution and recalculating it. Unfortunately, the strength development is almost less than half. So what happens is the recycling, as far as it's a colorless material, for example, the class 2 dental plaster, it can be used very well as a filling material. So, you know, basically it's like having a paper which is written on one side, but the second side is blank. So you use it as a rough paper within the office premises. So similarly, class 2. But when it comes to the colored material, for example, dental stones and dye stones, they would not be possible to reprocess because we cannot expect them to reach the strength level that you have reached. But it can be used in many applications, such as casting of statues, castings of Ganpati. You know, there is a little bit I want to tell about the huge UN cry going about Ganpati idols, about the pollution. But mind you, in my opinion, the paint which goes on the idol is far more dangerous than the plaster which is inside. If you really look at it. So it can be used as a filling material, but reprocessing, the only other way is to fill up the ground because it came from the ground. Gypsum came from the ground, and over the years, I mean, that's also what is happening to the byproduct of the P2O5 production, the phosphoric acid and fertilizers processes at the fertilizer plants, where every day between 100 to 200 tons of gypsum is coming out, which is not suitable for manufacture of plaster of Paris because it contains traces of P2O5, which is highly corrosive material. So they are in United States, they are dumping this material into the sea. They are dumping it in the Gulf of Miami. Hundreds of tons every day. And we may say it's polluting and this and that, but that's what they are doing, even a very, very conscious country as United States. So you can use these molds after crushing them as a filling material in statues and other things.
I think people have made attempts to make plaster boards out of the material.
Can't get the strengths.
No, just a plaster board as a not necessarily from a strength
but
point
as
of view, but as a partition,
as a block you can make it.
Yeah.
As a block, that industry is still not active in India.
But I think again, in principle, what Rajen bhai said, chemistry-wise, it is perfectly possible for it to be recycled completely. But whether it is economically viable to collect that particular material, bring it to a calcining kiln, and then process it and then sell it back at the same price, it's very much doubtful. It's like having a plastic. In principle, the plastic, nothing happens to the plastic, that is polyethylene, polypropylene. In principle, can be completely 100% recycled. But because of the small quantity of fillers and other things, you got to remove all those contaminants which are there for it to make it function as equal to a virgin plastic. So similarly, your products which are going to be there, even the traces of impurities make huge changes in the crystal pattern or the crystal structure. So even if you want to recycle it, you may not be in a position to recycle it to a standard of a fresh material.
So these things are not known to some dentists. At least it can be useful to some other sections also.
Yes, of course.
They can have that this idea and can take they can send it to some other aspect.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shailesh. Those were really good sets of questions. We have few more questions, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, I cannot dare to ask the question to you. I am the former dean of this esteemed institution and a director also of the research wing. I was fortunate to hear a lot of stalwarts in the field of and the renowned scientists like Honourable Pandit sir, Mashalkar sir, D.D. Yadav sir, Sharma sir. I really feel fortunate my field of specialization is oral and maxillofacial surgery. But being in the administration, sir, and in the research, I felt that I can seek the advice for the benefit of the faculty and the PG students. Sir, patents, innovations and publications. These are a little bit of the requirement of the Dental Council of India to get the promotion to the higher post. And also for the PG student to fulfill their requirement to appear for the examination.
Correct.
Sir, our institution is one of the few institutions in the country who have instituted these awards for the research. And that is continuously going on since so many years now. And being attached to the academic since more than 40 years, and now I am superannuated. However, I feel that this is the right occasion to seek the advice of Honourable Pandit sir, particularly. Sir, how the patents, innovations and research and publications, I mean to say the quality, how can we ensure in the dental institutions where probably there may be few limitations for the faculty members. However, rightly you said, sir, that the first requirement of any innovation research is to have the aptitude, attitude and the desire to do something. So I request you, sir, to please guide us on this point. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. What I would just like to say that these three aspects which you talked about is publication, research, and patents. And I would add teaching to it because that is the main objective for which you are carrying out research and patenting. Now, all these three activities which you talked about, essentially research, publications, and patenting, in turn, they help you as a teacher. If you continue to carry out research and you find something new, you develop something new, you are in a position to share that new knowledge with your students immediately. And then you are teaching them the latest of the things rather than what they are reading from the book. In terms of publication, you need to translate or advertise that particular research in the form of publication. The publication helps in one particular way is it allows you to express your ideas in a very concise and unambiguous way. Otherwise, when you want to explain, you have to learn the definition or it has a limited number of words. And whenever you have to send a publication, you can't be writing stories. You know that the publication will be either in terms of 6 pages or 8 pages or 12 pages. So whatever you want to convey, you need to be in a position to convey it in that limited space available using the precise language. Now, when you spend reasonable amount of time in expressing your ideas during writing of a publication, that also helps you in teaching because that allows you to express those ideas to students in a very unambiguous way. And you will be able to convey or you will be able to teach many more things than what is there in the syllabus. Third part is the patenting part. The patenting part has a slightly different angle to it. That doing a patent for the sake of patent is not at all useful because patenting itself is a fairly expensive procedure. And unless you are going to make some money out of that particular patent, don't bother about patenting it. Publication is good enough. But when you do file a patent, spend certain amount of money, file a patent, the patent is granted, you pay the patent fees, you are in a position to sell that particular patent and you make some money out of it. The same money will allow you to support your research activity in some way because you have earned certain amount of money. I don't say that you invest all the money which you earn from the patent into research, but at least some part of that money you will be able to invest into your own research. So this activity, as correctly pointed out by Rajen Bhai, is a perpetual activity. It never stops. It goes on and on. And I've been doing that since 1980 and almost 42 years. And I'm still equally enthusiastic about all the three activities, whether it is teaching, research, patenting, publications. It's going on and on. So the only thing as a faculty, you need to remember that you need to give a dedicated time for each of these activities. Similar to you give a dedicated time to your teaching because you have a timetable to follow, you assign in your lifetime that I'm going to spend a certain amount of time for reading of the research papers, carrying out research, doing experiments, a dedicated time. Similarly, a dedicated time for writing of the publications. I think the morning time, according to me, is the best time available for you when your mind is fresh and you have slept over your old thought process and it has been crystallized. You have allowed it to crystallize it. The crystallization is a very slow process, as you all know. So morning time, according to me at least, is a good time for writing it out. And patenting, again, as I said, that ultimately everything boils down to earning. So you can't be doing everything for charity. You need to earn your own living. So patenting essentially will support your income in terms of licensing it out and earning certain revenue from it. So this is what I would like to say, that dedicated time and doing these activities on a continual basis, day in, day out, is the key to a successful academic, is what I would recommend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We hope that your advice will be helpful to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Gupta sir, for that relevant question. Pandit sir, you mentioned something about Jugaad.
Yeah.
Like Indian dentist, and not only dentist, each and every Indian, some or the other
Absolutely.
point of
Yeah.
his life, he will do some kind of Jugaad. Jugaad is not bad, according to my opinion, but where we fail, I think, is the documentation of the Jugaad. Like I still feel that if that Jugaad, if we document it properly with the multiple cases, each and every step of fabrication of that Jugaad, the failure, the success, the reasons for failure, the success, the testimonial of the patients, and if we document that thing and if we publish that thing, that can turn out into a good publication or maybe later on into a patent as well. And I know an example of this pedodontic colleague of mine called Dr. Deepesh Prajapati. He designed some kind of space maintainer which is used for children. It was none reported in the textbooks till date, and he tried several cases with that thing, and he sent it to the British Medical Journal, and the journal accepted that, and then an international textbook named that technique as his name and that college name, the NIMS Dental College. And that came into textbook as a technique. So that's one avenue for you people. Like you also do Jugaad, and as sir said, but the documentation is the key here. You need to.
Absolutely. So what you have done essentially is that Jugaad has been translated into a standard SOP.
Right.
So what is important is doing that. And this is what I said, that many doctors on their own are doing many jugaads with their own devices and materials. But that jugaad is limited, restricted to their own practice. It is not published.
Right.
For whatever reasons. If they are in a position to publish that, then that knowledge sharing is going to be important. See, some people would do things for their own benefit. Some people would do things for their for getting a name and fame. Some people would do it for social development. So it all depends upon the attitude of that particular individual, and that's why I think some socialistic attitude is required, especially in the case of doctors and I mean whether it is medical doctors or dentists, because many of these doctors also, I mean Indian doctors are known to be excellent surgeons. They use the same set of equipments and others, but why are they good surgeons? I think the dexterity associated with the Indian hands, the usage of hands and fingers in a very dexterous way, and then developing this particular procedure allows them to do that. And they do train their interns in terms of development of these practices, and this is traditionally passed on. So this is a similar story here, even in case of dentistry. I could not agree with you more in terms of the proper documentation of any jugaad which is actually carried out and has benefited either the patient or the general society.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I wish we had more time, but because of time constraint and we have a function ahead, we will have to wind up this session. So can I just pass on the mic to the Master of Ceremony to proceed further?
Thank you, sir, for giving us an insight on the bigger picture of dental materials and its manufacturing. Gratitude sweetens even the smallest moments and is the gateway to abundance. With this, we would like to request Swarali Zode, representative, Student Council, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Swarali Zode, Student Council representative, am honored to be delivering the vote of thanks today. I sincerely thank Dr. A.B. Pandit, sir, for taking his precious time to enlighten us with his knowledge and grace us with his presence. I would also thank Mr. Rajendra Nandwana, sir, for his motivational words. We are grateful to you, sir, for being with us today and introducing innovation and reliability into us through Kalabhai Karson. I lastly thank the teaching staff, postgraduates, undergraduates, and my fellow interns for their patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of today's online session. We thank each one of you for gracing this ceremony with your precious presence. We will be gathering here again for the offline program shortly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we log off?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you can log off, sir. Thank you very much once again for your
Thank you
precious
very much.
time.
Thanks a lot.
We
Thank you.
appreciate. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we'll have a short break, say about 10 minutes. Are the snacks been served? Okay. So after the 10-minute break, okay, yeah, be seated over here, but break will be there. So after that, we'll start with the 91st birth anniversary celebrations and the program for that. Kindly have your snacks and tea on your seat. Do not leave your seat. Please be seated. Thank you, sir, for coming. Thank you. नाही सर तुम्ही बसा ना आता येणार ना आता हे फंक्शन आहे ना सर आता हे फंक्शन छान झालं ना कभी आना पड़ेगा घेऊन येतो मग
For students, you send. Since you staying with Dean, sir.
Everyone, please be seated on their respective places. The program is about to start.
Good evening. I request all to kindly settle down fast. I don't want any movements now. Please sit down. So we have got a very negative feedback right now on the online that lot of noise is coming in the background. So it's not a good sign and it is going online. So I don't want that to be happened again. So there is a fraction of time where we need to speak, you speak. But when you are asked, supposed to be silent, you have to be silent. Students, please clear the entrance. And I want silence now.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you to please stand as our academic procession has arrived. I humbly request all the dignitaries to please take their seats on the dais. Thank you, everyone. I request you all to please take your seats. A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries and everyone present here. I, Ashlesh Arsade,
I am Ara Sayyeda.
cordially welcome you to the auspicious occasion of celebrating the 91st birth anniversary of Swargiya Shri Dadasaheb Kalmegh ji. We are also honored to commemorate the silver jubilee of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan. 16 glorious years of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Dental College and Hospital, and a decade of research and innovation in healthcare from 2018 to 2028. जिथे जहाजांनी जिद्द पकडली असते तिथे वादळ सुद्धा पराभूत होतात.
The path of truth and justice is brimmed with hurdles, and only the ones with resilient determination rise above them. The phenomenal work of Sri Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh is a beacon of hope for all academic enthusiasts. He worked tirelessly for the upliftment of the society and in the field of education. His hard work and perseverance became an inspiration for our institute to strive for excellence in academics and innovation. Our reverent attempts will never be enough to honor such a legend. As a part of an institute named after such a virtuous personality, it is our utmost responsibility to pursue his values, ideas, and solicitude for quality education and gift it to the next generation. We hope that we become capable to be the flag bearers of his illuminated vision and pursue the ideals of our institute.
An event is truly incomplete without seeking the blessings of Almighty. We now request the dignitaries on the dais to please light the traditional lamp and offer a floral tribute to Goddess Saraswati and Sri Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh. I request all
कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रामृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेषजाड्यापहा नानाधर्मनिगूढतत्त्वनिचिता यत्संस्कृतिराजते सेयं भारतभूर्नितान्तरुचिरा मातैव न सर्वदा तस्या उन्नतिहेतवे हि भवता ज्ञानं तथा मे बलम् सम्पन्ना बलशालिनी विजयताम् मे मातृभू सर्वदा मे मातृभू सर्वदा मे मातृभू सर्वदा
We will now be proceeding towards the floral welcome of our respected guests. I request Ms. Kashish Jaswani to welcome Honourable Founder President Shri Sharadji Kalmegh with a floral bouquet.
I request Munir Ahmad to welcome Honorable Secretary Shri Hemantji Kalmegh with a floral bouquet.
I request Ms. Lakshmi Kalmegh to welcome respected Dean Dr. Nilesh Parde with a floral bouquet.
I request Ms. Kashish Jaswani to welcome Dr. Sanjay Patil with a floral bouquet.
I request Mr. Munir Ahmed to welcome Local Management Committee member Dr. Juzair Rasool with a floral bouquet.
I request Ms. Lakshmi Kalmegh to welcome Local Management Committee member Dr. Arun Sajjanar with a floral bouquet.
I request Kashish Jaswani to welcome Local Management Committee member Dr. Manisha Nagdeve with a floral bouquet.
We warmly welcome Dr. Sai Kalmegh, Dr. M.K. Gupta, Dr. Nimbarkar, and Advocate Raja Bhoyer.
I now request respected Dean Dr. Nilesh Parde to kindly address the gathering.
A very good evening to one and all. Um, Respected Honourable President Sir, Shri Sharad Kalmegh ji, Honourable Secretary Hemant Kalmegh Sir, all the members of the LMC on the dais, and all the dignitaries of the dais, all my colleagues, head of the departments, teaching faculty, non-teaching staff, my interns, postgraduate students, undergraduate students, and more fondly, the first year BDS who are very new to this gathering, just like me. So it's a moment of great privilege and honor for me to extend a hearty welcome to all of you today at this memorable event where we are celebrating the Silver Jubilee of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan, 16 glorious years of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Dental College and Hospital, Hingna, Nagpur, and the 91st birth anniversary of late Dadasaheb Kalmegh Sir, the iconic figure for whom we have gathered here this evening. Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan is a trust that personifies the ideas and values of the iconic academic figure, late Shri Dadasaheb Kalmegh. He was the president of one of the largest education trusts, Sri Shivaji Education Society, Amravati, which manages over 300 institutes, schools, and colleges. He was also the Vice Chancellor of Nagpur University, and I have learned that he was the youngest VC of the country. I have not personally interacted with Dadasaheb, or I don't know him very well, but whatever I have heard about him, not just from Sir, but from many other people in whose life he has tremendous contribution. Whomever in Nagpur I have met, and whenever I have introduced them that I am the Dean of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Dental College and Hospital, the first thing they mention about is Dadasaheb. He was such an iconic and influential figure, and he has tremendous contribution in making lives of innumerable people who are witness of his goodness and of his charisma. The Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan is committed to reach out to the entire social spectrum, ranging from the urban elite to the most far-flung rural patients. The Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Dental College and Hospital, which was established in 2006, is the platform through which the trust aims to make dental care expertise accessible to one and all. The trust and the dental college was founded by our Honourable President Shri Kalmegh Sir, Shri Rajendra Singh Ji, and Hemant Kalmegh Sir, and other luminaries who have themselves set landmarks in academics and are equally able administrators and are working tirelessly towards the realization of the ideals of late Shri Dadasaheb Kalmegh. And as Dean of this prestigious institute, I would like to ensure that we will do everything possible to equip you with the best possible teaching resources, practical exposure, and training methods so that you are able to shape up your life and career for a challenging world out there. In our college, the theme of this year is Dentistry Beyond Conventional Dental Practices, Innovation and Applications. And we were very fortunate today that because of the efforts of Sharad Sir, we could listen to luminaries like Pandit Sir and Rajen Ji. Talking about this theme, when we talk about innovations, as Pandit Sir mentioned, the essential points which are required for innovation, even I have something in my mind. So what is most important for innovation is imagination. As Einstein has said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, it has boundaries, but imagination is infinite. It has no boundaries. Within a fraction of a second, you are in Switzerland. Within a fraction of a second, you are in the space. So imagination knows no boundaries. And those who imagine, they only discover and they only innovate. Simple examples, bulb, Thomas Edison. Nobody would have thought that electricity will give us light, but Thomas Edison dreamt about it. He imagined about it. There must be 100,000 times he must have failed, but ultimately he succeeded. Even after success, he didn't stop there. He went on innovating the bulb further till it becomes perfect. Innovations are still going on. He didn't stop there, but to measure the consumption of electricity, he innovated the first electric meter. So that's how innovation works. It's not that you invented or you innovated one thing and you stop. No, it's a continuous process. You have to make it perfect. As well, Sir also said, Pandit Sir, that it's a continuous process. We would not have imagined flying in air in such a heavy airplane, but it was only possible because of the imagination of two brothers, Wright brothers. People used to laugh at them, that it is not possible. It is not possible for a huge thing to fly in air. It's against law of nature. But these two brothers dared, they dreamt, and they imagined. They worked tirelessly for over 16 years, and with spare parts of cycle, they innovated the first aeroplane. And today, we know the rest is history. You know Sachin Tendulkar, why he is called God of Cricket? Many reasons, but one of the reasons is his first double century in ODI, in the male category, in 2010. Till 2010, so many ODIs must have been played, but nobody ever imagined that a double century can be made in a one-day cricket. It must have been Sachin Tendulkar's persistent efforts and his imagination or his dream that I will do this. He must have thought somewhere. It's not accidentally it has happened. He must have definitely thought कि 150 हुआ है, 160 हुआ है, I will make 200. And he succeeded. And after that, you know the history. Rohit Sharma did, Yuvraj did, and around 10 people did. So this is how innovation works. You need to be imaginative. You need to dream. So that is the most important part to be innovative. The second thing I would take from Pandit sir's lecture, he mentioned about attitude. Attitude. I would like to make it very simple. What is attitude? You know a jungle Raj. When you imagine of jungle, who is the most strongest animal? No. The most strongest animal is elephant. He is huge. He is very strong. But the king of jungle is lion. Why? That's his attitude. He has the attitude of the predator. When he sees an elephant, he says, food, I will kill it. But when the same elephant sees the lion, he says, run away. Ye mere ko kha jayega. So that's the attitude you should have, a winning attitude. You should never give up. You should work continuously. So that's another point where you need to stress. You have to develop that kind of attitude. Okay. The third point I learned in the US when my first daughter was born. We were in the hospital, and almost for 16 hours, my wife was in labor pain. And our daughter, she was in the breech position, and my wife was pushing. She was in tremendous pain. She was in tremendous labor, and it was not possible. And in the US, the doctors are not available that easily. So the gynecologists were going to report in the next morning. And that evening, the junior doctor was asking us, okay, push, try this, that. Then they realized that it is not going to happen. We need to do a C-section. So that pain and that labor, there I understood that extreme pain and labor gives birth to new life. So if you have to give birth to anything new, you need to go through extreme pain and labor. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy task. People will laugh at you. People will make fun of you. You will have tireless nights, sleepless nights, so much of effort. As I told you, Edison and everybody, so many years of efforts have to be put in, and then something new can be born. Okay? So these are the important things. And lastly, I would like to end with some lines. Unused money devalues. Unused talent diminishes. Unused potential decays. Unused machinery disintegrates. Unused time dies. Unused knowledge becomes a burden. What isn't used is abused. The tragedy of life isn't ultimate death, but the resources that die within you when you are still alive. Use it, or you will lose it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful words.
I would now request Dr. Juzair Rasool, LMC member, to share his words with the audience.
Respected Sharat sir, respected Hemant sir, Dean sir, Patil sir, Dr. Arun Sajjanar, Nagdive madam, all guests present over here, staff, PGs, interns, students. First of all, I want to say that on the occasion of birth anniversary of Dadasaheb, that was on 8th of November, from our department, we had conducted dental camp in government girls hostel. Besides this, on behalf of college, we had donated over there food grains, we have donated set of utensils, clothes, and a set of
dental materials like toothpaste, toothbrush, mouthwash to all the students who were there in the government girls' hostel. Now, related with Dadasaheb, just I want to say, whatever we learned from the people, in his lifetime, he had not made the excuse at any point of time to come in his way. वो रात में 11 बजे हो, 12 बजे हो, कि सुबह में 5 बजे हो, जब भी किसी को भी उनका काम पड़ता था तो he was always ready. Secondly, related with this only I will talk. I want to mention about the Gandhian thought. One Gandhian thought is that more from less for more. More performance from less resources for more and more number of people. In our dentistry, we can say patients. Now, in this, what happens? Most of the times there are innovations, there are upgradation, all the things, new equipments, new instruments, they are coming in the way. But in all this, we are forgetting, most of the times we are so much bound, so much dependent on these things, we can't even imagine also we can live without this. So related with dentistry, what we can say about in the form of X-ray, you can say in the form of recently innovations, lasers, various other tests also you can say. Our aim at any point of time, we should provide more benefit to the patients. Maybe sometimes there may be less resources, less things, but in that also, these resources and these things, they should act as a supportive, and you should not be dependent on that. Whatever most of our thinking is that without this, dentistry can't be done. Like I can say you about the X-ray, we are doing, most of us, we have a habit of in simple surgery also, in simple extraction also, in simple conservative procedure, whatever, scaling in periodontics, in orthodontics. We are taking most of the time the support of it. Means we are completely dependent on it. We can't try कि नहीं ये इसके पहले 30 साल 40 साल पहले ये सब नहीं था, तभी भी होता था ये सब पूरा. Just agreed कि you should take the support wherever required, but you should not be completely dependent on it. So that is what is my thinking. Because what happens कि in all this, ये सब के इसमें what happens कि we forget that we also have a brain. हमारे में भी दिमाग है और हम भी सोच सकते हैं कुछ. नहीं, एक्सरे नहीं है, काम ही नहीं हो सकता है. ये टेस्ट नहीं है, काम ही नहीं हो सकता है. In the for you people, I can say you okay, we had done plenty of camps. In these camps, probably we have to work in most of the difficult conditions in where we don't have all these things what we are mentioned over here. But in there also we are doing the extractions, we are doing the fillings, we are doing all the things over there. तो नहीं तो एकदम डिपेंड हो जाओ कोई मॉडर्न जिसमें भी जो इक्विपमेंट आता है, नवा कुछ आता है, उसमें अगर एकदम बहुत डिपेंडेंट हो जाओ तो देन व्हाट हैपन्स कि एट वन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम व्हाट हैपन्स कि इफ यू मस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू मस्ट हैव गॉन इनटू द मेडिकल शॉप. कभी गए होंगे मेडिकल शॉप में, दवाई लेने गए होंगे आप लोग. कि एक ये 2 रुपए की दवाई दे, चल ये एक दूसरी भी एक 2 रुपए की दवाई दे, कितने हो गए? तो वो कैलकुलेटर 2 + 2 4. तो मीन्स दे आर सो डिपेंडेंट ऑन दैट कि दोज मेडिकल पर्सन्स, वो जो मेडिकल शॉप वाले जो रहते हैं, तो वो अगर कैलकुलेटर उसके हाथ में से ले लूँ मैं, तो ही हैज़ टू शट डाउन हिज शॉप. अभी क्या करूँ मैं? कि वो दे कांट इवन कैलकुलेट 2 + 2 ऑल्सो ओरली. तो लाइक दैट ओनली के यहाँ पर भी मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि अपने को भी कि बिकॉज व्हाट हैपन्स कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स एग्रीड कि जहाँ पे सपोर्ट लेने का है, यू कैन टेक द सपोर्ट ऑफ ऑल दीज थिंग्स, बट वेन एवर नॉट सो यूज योर ब्रेन ऑल्सो एंड related ultimate what happens कि there is a loss of patient, loss to the patient, and patient will suffer because of our what you can say carelessness or whatever we can say. For example, I can say you कि whenever you want to climb the mountain, ultimately you have to rely on your legs, not that वो स्टिक लेके जो चलते हैं, तो वो स्टिक के ऊपर आप रिलाई नहीं कर सकते. अल्टीमेटली यू हैव टू रिलाई ऑन योर लेग्स while climbing the mountain. Same thing apply over here also. Yes, we can make most of the uses, but wherever it is not possible, so don't, on the cost of the patient, you should not deny. Apply your mind, and whatever best possible we can do, we should do for the patients. Related with at the end, related with दादा साहेब, एक बैठे बैठे कोट याद आ गया मेरे को. वो अच्छे से तो नहीं मालूम, लेकिन जस्ट आई कैन से कि लहरों के साथ साथ तो बेजान लोग जाते हैं. लहरों के साथ साथ तो बेजान लोग जाते हैं. जीते हुए जो लहरों के विपरीत जाते हैं. Dada Saheb was one of them. He had lived his life throughout all odds, and he had won the mind of all because of that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for your dynamic words.
A person who pursues Dada Saheb's mission with such devotion that we now have reached the silver jubilee of Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan, a personality who cherishes and practices the art of innovation and scientific research. I now request Honourable President Shri Sharatji Kalmegh Sir, Founder, President and Chairman, Local Management Committee, Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Dental College and Hospital, to enlighten us with his pearls of wisdom.
A rainy evening of September 1997, 2 months after Dadasaheb passed away, me and Hemant were sitting where I used to stay earlier. Old kind of house with a hall. There was a very big question in front of us. As Dadasaheb had passed away, me and Hemant, we really had no connection with the field of education that time. Before he passed away, just last 4 or 5 years, we got involved with him because he was fighting a fierce battle at Shivaji Society. Some legal complications, this, that. He passed away. The big issue was as to how we carry forward his mission, his education. He was also not a general body member of Shivaji Society that time. I am not even today. Without a general body member, to get into Shivaji Society is just not possible. That was the situation. We had 2 options. One was that we really give a serious thought find out some solution so that we can carry his mission. This was one thing which we could have done. Second option was to say that we won't be doing anything more in education then. Perhaps do whatever we were doing. We were basically doing some trading activities. It was a very difficult decision. But शायद दोनों भाई दादा साहब से इतना प्यार करते थे, उनका वो फील्ड is that education work just left like that. That idea somehow or other, it was just not even, entering at the surface. Inside to dur ki baat hai. And moments, we decided we will form a public society or a public trust, which is Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan, which has completed 25 years. That is how Swargiya Dadasaheb Kalmegh Smruti Pratishthan was born. सवाल ये है कि he is also engineer, I am engineer, some of our other office bearers, they are also engineers and technocrats. Teaching faculty हमारी काफी बार सोचती है कि ये इधर काय को आए. They have a very big question कि dentistry में काय को आए ये लोग. बहुत ही छोटा सा, it's a very small incidence, and you know how people and how you really decide in life, how things come. I thought that time that engineering college is a very big project and dental college is perhaps not that big, which was wrong. Otherwise, dental college is a bigger project. But why I got into that mindset? If I tell you the incidents, you will not believe that our president can really, analyze things in this manner and take a decision. At latter part, Sai's mother, my daughter, is sitting here. When we married, she was just a first MBBS student, and I used to go and drop her at that GMC from where she used to enter. So after our marriage and then post-graduation she was doing, actually at that entrance gate from where the students of government medical college enter, it is just adjacent to the government dental college building. And that building which is in the front, because I did not know that GDC means it has a support of medical college also. They have all the departments of medical. Nothing was known to me. So consistently something, happening in front of your eyes, and how it gives, idea how the ideas are born. This is a very good example. I thought, यार dental college इतनू सही था, ये अपन कर सकते हैं. Then I said, Heman, let's do dental college. I never knew that dental college is such a big project और मुझे इतना करना पड़ेगा. Nowadays, the management books are telling sometimes ignorance acts to your benefit. This is a classic example. That I was destined to meet all the students who are sitting here, all my alumni, and I have no hesitation in saying that the best time I spent in this premises is undoubtedly with my undergraduate students and the interns, then the postgraduate students. Whenever I am, because ultimately I am also human, so I am also low at times when there are so many problems and complications, and from morning to evening you are doing the same thing. So students, those glorious years, what we have been talking and what we have assembled here, सब आपके लिए, सारे undergraduate student, postgraduate student और interns के लिए. That glory is for you. 91st birth anniversary, Dada Saheb. We all are here. My brother, who is also our office bearer, sitting on the dais. Our new dean. Our former dean is sitting in that corner. He is a little bit scared of me today. Come here, Deepak. Come, sit here. All our other LMC members, Dr. Patil, all employees, students, everybody. First and the foremost, the first BDS batch 2023 and the PG batch 2023, as Dr. Nilesh said, they are the new entrants to this college along with our Dr. Shailesh, who is the head of the Department of Prosthetic, is sitting here. So one big round of applause for them. They are part of our family. Everybody thinks कि ये साल 2 साल में डीन क्यों बदलते हैं? In this crowd only there are 6-7 deans sitting. डीन बदले लेकिन मुझे छोड़ के गए क्या वो? मुझे छोड़ के गए क्या? So the best thing is, this journey with the deans is also a very big chapter. But sometimes it's awkward because one dean who is definitely senior to me by 8-9 years, Dr. Gupta. So when sometimes I used to be very harsh with him, मुझे ही बाद में रात को घर जाके कुछ तो भी होता था यार, क्या मैं जरा ज्यादा ही बोल दिया डॉक्टर गुप्ता को. डॉक्टर गाड़े एंड मी वी आर ऑफ द सेम एज, तो उनके केस में मुझे कभी ऐसा नहीं लगा. एंड दे ऑल आर जूनियर्स नाउ. President has learned so many things from the dean. Now I have come to a stage, the way they enter in my that conference hall, मुझे तभी मालूम रहता है ये क्या लेके आया है, इसके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, इसके दिल में क्या चल रहा है, और अब ये मुझे क्या कहने वाला है. I have reached to that stage. ये बहुत ही एक्सप्रेसिव है. The day he comes, Nilesh and we are just say 2 months and little more than that. Take some time for me to statement. However, one thing I will say that he is a research-oriented guy because he has 110 papers to his credit. Worked in a corporate culture. So it is, as you were all listening earlier, it's high time for us to get into the professional mold of administration. What, in a different way, Dr. Honourable Pandit sir and Dr. Rajen talked to you. You could have think that they did not speak, which I will speak, and that is the only thing I will speak on the research today. Then maybe on 4th I will speak little more. See that Mr. Rajan, he is close to 80 years of age, what I understand. There is no family member in the next generation presently to support him. But did you find him short of enthusiasm? Was he not the same way enthusiastic the way our youngsters are? Yes or no? That is what is success. To be enthusiastic even at this age. So far as my generation is concerned, we really don't know as to how we will reach till that age. Whether we will reach also or not. The kind of stress and the kind of things that we have gone through. But keeping that enthusiasm live, all my undergraduate, postgraduate, intern students, that is the key to everything. This innovation and research part, I will talk to you a little more. It was very difficult for me to really, what to talk today. What I have realized of late that I had lot of issues earlier to speak. I used to constantly keep on telling. Because just to improve. That procedure is still going on. However, nowadays, थोड़ा सा मुझे लगता है कि अब मैं काफी बोल गया हूँ. इन लोगों का काम है इसको आगे लेके जाना. I talking all the while same things again and again. So sometimes I feel that थोड़ा track change करते हैं. Few things we will change. since all these things, the Silver Jubilee or Dadasaheb's 91st birth anniversary or 16 glorious years, these are all landmarks. I will mention few of the landmarks of this journey. How the journey was, which will correlate college, Pratishthan, Dadasaheb, everything. 2006 we started. 2009 is our first landmark. Our faculty knows and some of our students also know, but those who are new to the college, I had understood one thing very early, that we can get 100% result with the first batch the best way. So we were trying to, work extra as to how to get 100% result of the 2006 batch. So it was first we tried in 2008. 2008 when they were in second year, just one fellow who did not appear for the examination. Because of that, we could not touch 100%. 2009 landmark, why I say, because within the start in just 3 years' time, in 2009, we achieved 100% result of our first batch of 2006. And in the same very year, our 2007 batch, who was appearing in second year examination, 5 total merits of Maharashtra University of Health Sciences state. Out of those 5, 4 were from our college. Romita Gaikwad belongs to 2006. Mayur Gawande belongs to 2007. इनमें अभी कितना बाकी है मैं उसके बारे में नहीं कुछ कहूंगा. That they will have to prove in the time to come. 2011 is another landmark, because as per rules and as our statutory provisions are, we cannot start post-graduation course before the first undergraduate batch pass out. So ideally the 2006 batch pass first and then we could have started. So if we had followed that calendar, we could have started PG in 2012. But Dada Saab jo cheeze sikha ke gaye, I read that entire program and then I sat with Hemant. And I realized that there are few ways by which we can start postgraduate program even before the first batch pass out. Starting post-graduation course in 2011, ahead of our first batch passed out from this college, is a very big landmark, and I treat it as the biggest academic success of this college, because it was on our reputation and the performance of our undergraduate courses. Subsequently, PG started in 3 subjects, then another 4, then another 1. By 2016, we had got everything recognized. 2017, this auditorium where we are sitting is a landmark. We hosted the first Maharashtra University of Health Sciences Spandan program here. Then came the research decade, then the research awards in 19, 22, 23. All these are landmarks. How I narrate this with reference to the students? Because on very first day I had said that students cannot remain aloof from the growth. Only infrastructure growth is not the answer, unless and until our students are performing. 26 merits from 2009 till 2021. We are to get a merit list of last year. It is no other college has done in the history of Maharashtra University of Health. प्रतिष्ठान, हमारे पास पैसे नहीं थे, मैन पावर नहीं था, अप्रैल में जून की सैलरी नहीं दे पाते थे. जर्नी चलते रहा. प्रतिष्ठान के भी अपने लैंडमार्क्स है. Me and Hemant consecutively got elected, I think 4 or 5 times, the post of president and secretary, along with our office bearers. Pratishthan owns this college as a parent body. सारा का सारा मॉर्गेज था ये, tons of loan on our head. आज नहीं है. If you ask me what this journey means financially, उसके लिए फिर कभी बात करेंगे. Because my young generation wants to earn money fast in short ways. वो नहीं होता है. You have to work hard. They mentioned about जुगाड़ and then Nilesh also mentioned about जुगाड़. जुगाड़ थोड़ा बहुत है लाइफ का हिस्सा, नहीं है ऐसा नहीं है, बट जुगाड़ जिंदगी नहीं है. जिंदगी मेन है. All these three occasions for which we met, for which we have assembled here, narrating one or two memories of Dadasaheb on his birth anniversary and what exactly was Dadasaheb. Quick decision, instant decision. जैसा मुझे भी लगा कि हम will start a dental college. He did for thousands and thousands of people, whether it was education or job or transfers, marriages, unbelievable. And his projects, what he did, like educational institutes, the sugar industry, there are so many things that he did, social organizations. They benefited lakhs and lakhs of people. One such instance, what I remember, there was a doctor who was working with ESIC, and he had a MPSC selected job while working with ESIC. I think now the dentists are also appointed as medical officers in ESIC. So anybody who was having a medical officer job selected by MPSC, this person one fine evening comes in front of Dadasaheb. उनको he had this habit. क्या चल रहा है, कैसा चल रहा है, काय चालू है तुमचं? त्या डॉक्टरनी सांगितलं की I am doing ESIC and I am doctor. MPSC का सिलेक्शन भी आपके आशीर्वाद से हुआ. अच्छा ठीक है. बोले why don't you change to education? तो डॉक्टर को लगा कि भाई मैं एजुकेशन में जाऊं, वो भी प्राइवेट मेडिकल कॉलेज. डॉक्टर को लगा गवर्नमेंट का जॉब छोड़ के इधर जाओ प्राइवेट में. जनरली व्हाट हैपेंस, यू लीव प्राइवेट मेडिकल कॉलेज और प्राइवेट डेंटल कॉलेज एंड यू एंटर गवर्नमेंट. एक ऐसी कोई केस हमारे फिलहाल किसी कलीग की है, हमारे टीचिंग फैकल्टी की. That doctor had so much of trust, means how his followers were, what was their faith. ये किसी को नहीं मिलता है. That doctor took a paper, he wrote his resignation. Next day he was appointed as maybe reader or professor in a private medical college, which he was chaired. That doctor is sitting here. He is the man who is sitting here. मैं झूठ नहीं बोलता, इधर ही बैठे. And he retired as a dean of a medical college very recently. खुददारी थी दादा साहब में. बच्चे हमारा कुछ सुनते उनते नहीं थे. और कभी ऐसा है ना भाई, हमारे से बहुत प्रेम से बातें की. जैसे आपके अभी, we to have to talk with so nicely to you parents, whether it is my daughter or your parents. If they don't talk to you nice, we really don't know as to how you will react. This was not true in my generation or with Dadasaheb. What my daughter does with me, had I done even 2% things with him, he would have told me to leave. But 92 to 97, there were a lot of issues going on in Shivaji Education Society, and there were plethora of cases, court cases, and how one honest person has to face. That was a classical case. बहुत detail में नहीं जाएंगे. But because he was required to be taking assistance from me and Hemant again and again, तो naturally उनको थोड़ा असिस्ट करते करते टाइम we also used to prevail upon him. नहीं नहीं असं नका करू, असं करा वगैरे वगैरे. And that he did not like. He did not have that habit of listening to anybody. What is correct is correct. What he said one day, म्हणे मला तुमचं ऐकावं लागतं हेच मला मान्य नाही म्हणे. केस हाडलो तर चालते म्हणे आपल्याला, पण मला तुम्ही सांगू नका म्हणे. This is how he was. On one of his birthday, 8th of November 95, he was felicitated in our medical college auditorium. That is one of his last speeches that I came across. So this journey, the way we have gone, आजकल वर्ल्ड कप चालू है. वर्ल्ड कप में नहीं अभी वो अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ है. I always mention that issues never end. One World Cup is over and we have to think of the next World Cup. That is what life is all about. ये आपके your teaching faculty can tell you कि सर predict करते हैं कि बस अभी आधे घंटे में 2 विकेट जाने वाली है. ऐसा बहुत बार हुआ है और वो वैसे ही होता है. 2.5 months back, I had told that the Shubman Gill and Shreyas Iyer will not perform on a day of importance. No, I'm not lying. You can ask anybody of them. Here is a cricketer sitting with us who has represented Vidarbha in Central Zone. One of the best cricketer. It is only because he was in Nagpur, perhaps he did not go ahead of that. वो भी मुझे बोलता था कि दादा आप कुछ भी बोल रहे हो. मैं बोला देख लेना. मैच चालू हुई, आप लोग ऑडिटोरियम में देख रहे थे, मैं वहां देख रहा था हमारे सिटू में. I told them that Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli have been scoring a lot. 50 क्रॉस करना जरा है मुश्किल. एक आउट हो गया. Or you believe me, I am not lying. See, what is this? You have to have an analytical mind. Cricket for fun is one thing, but you need to know if you are interested and if you are a sports lover, you need to know what is happening. I told them that if Kohli crosses 65, we are winning the match, or else we are losing. They could not believe it. 54. Crossing the line is a very big concept. आम्ही किती चांगले आहे, आम्ही किती सेंचुरीज काढल्या, आम्ही काय केलं, आम्ही किती अभ्यास केला, मैंने तो क्या केस किया था, मैंने तो क्या पेशेंट देखा. एग्जामिनेशन के दिन परफॉर्म करो. जो जीता वही सिकंदर, यही सच है. I have no hesitation to say, in my entire setup and in my entire journey with our teaching faculty, this character is there only in 2 persons. एक बहुत ही vocal है, एक थोड़ा सा silent है. But they know that they have to cross the line. और वो सब लोग कभी तुमसे ज्यादा, म्हणजे जिनको ज्ञान देना है उनको पूरा देंगे, बट दे विल नेवर टॉक टू मी, कम एंड टेल मी कि हमने ये किया, हमने वो किया. नथिंग. दे विल शो मी द रिजल्ट. Who is that vocal person? Who has this habit? You will recognize him in seconds. जोर से बोलो, बजा दो, ताली बजा दो उनके लिए. Did you take name of any other faculty? Because you know that he is out and out. इस आदमी में ये भरा हुआ है. Cross the line. वो कैम का पूरा हुए सिवा वो दम लेगा ही नहीं लेगा. बेहतर होता कि सभी लोग उनसे जाके थोड़ा सा सीख ले. All of you people be in his touch more and more. There is another person who I will not say that he's exactly, has already reached to a stage where he is crossing the line. But वो वहां तक पहुंचता है. ज़्यादा बोलता नहीं है, but पहुंचता है. Can you tell me the name of that person? फिर से बोलो एक बार जोर से. So crossing the line in our own style is what is required. Journey, objective, targets, and all these things. If you really believe in all these things, you have to achieve your objective in this manner. Cross the line. हम लोग उस दिन नहीं कर पाए, लेकिन उसका मतलब खत्म नहीं हुआ. अगले साल T20 वर्ल्ड कप देखेंगे, वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप देखेंगे. So we have to keep on trying and trying and trying. On this occasion, I'll just narrate one example, finally, because I have been talking for more than 16, 17 years here. Continuously, I have been talking about persuasion, about pain, about patience. Then 12 C's, everybody of you know, which are there in the library, which we have listed. I also spoke of a balanced behavior. I also spoke ekmeka sahaya karu avge dharu supanta. Endless things I have been talking. One such example where all these things I have been demonstrated out and out. I can narrate just one example and you will realize as to what sir was talking all this. Those 41 laborers who were rescued yesterday, there is no better example of all these things what we saw yesterday. वो पेशेंस नहीं था उनमें? Were they not patient? Did all the agencies not pursue the work that they were doing even when they could not do it? There were so much of obstacles and hurdles and everything. Was it not a painful thing? Did they not communicate? Did they not live with everybody for 17 days? How they must have lived. अरे आपल्याला एक दिवस लाईट्स गेले आणि अर्धा तास नाही आला तर आपलं. One more thing I always say, there are moments in life when you have to fight out your own battle. कोई काम नहीं आता, वो एग्जाम में जैसा आप लोग खुद का खुद करते हो ना, वैसा ही है. It's good that 41 of them were together. They behaved in a balanced way. They were patient. Everything what I have been talking of last 16, 17 years, this is a classical case. और एक बात और है, balance behavior. बहुत बार, whenever such kind of things happen, the families become very impatient. They have some sort of, anger. They will react. They will do some things which are not, very nice. Happens. हमारे साथ भी हो सकता है. I have not seen one family member of those 41 laborers really, losing their balance. All the while they were sure that our people will come back. They had that full trust in the administrators that they will come back. हमारे यहाँ ट्रस्ट कितना होता है मालूम नहीं मेरे को. Especially with Abhi, they are not very sure as to what time I will finish and when we will take the new patient and go to our clinics. Trust ही नहीं है. When you have trust, when you are balanced, when you know this is what is the outcome. कोई आक्रोश नहीं था, उन्होंने कुछ भी नहीं किया. इतना बेहतरीन एग्जाम्पल है. अदरवाइज हम लोग एक आधा वैकेशन डीन देने का भूल गया तो डीन के चेंबर के बाहर जमा हो जाते हैं. वो आक्रोश है हमारे लिए. क्या फर्क पड़ता है if he has forgotten one day, if the dean has forgotten one day to notify. You need to just go all of you to dean's chamber. आक्रोश. वो 41 people, those who came out, it's a classical case as to what life is all about, how these things come in front of you and how you have to overcome that. To conclude, all my friends, undergraduate, postgraduate, interns, Keep on doing all those good things. 2017 batch, like the merits and all is very, अभी हमारे undergraduate students, they are in this mindset. Merit क्या है, वो हम वैसी लाते हैं. हमारे को, I was not aware that in 2017 merit list, we only knew about Snehal Yerne. But there were, out of 5, another 2 students were from our college, Sanket Thomre and that Shukla. 3 out of 5 were from our college. This I did not know for quite some time. हम लोग, we have gotten into a frame 26 merits. Whatever good things that you have been doing, keep on doing that. The 2018 batch and 19 batch merit list I don't have. Maybe we'll find place in 18 and 19 also. ये सारा जर्नी उसके पहले आप ही हो, सबसे आगे में. Students, keep on doing all good things. 16 glorious years and on and on and on. How many years you will keep on celebrating this? We may be there, we may not be there. At what stage of that? Doesn't matter. The tradition has to go on. The culture has to go on. Whatever are our few basics on which undoubtedly our undergraduate program is one of the best in our country. I can bet on that with anybody. You all keep on doing your good things. Your faculty is there to take care of you on all the occasions. We are there. And we'll meet soon again on 4th of December. That day I'll talk a little bit on research. Thank you so much, student.
Thank you, sir, for your inspirational words.
Appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to us as well. To express this gratitude, I would now request Ms. Swarali Zode, General Secretary, Student Council, to propose the vote of thanks.
A very good evening to one and all present here. I, Swarali Zode, the Student Council representative, am greatly honored to deliver the vote of thanks today again for this program. First, I'd like to thank our Honourable President, Shri Dadasaheb Kalmegh sir, for his auspicious presence and his motivational words. I would next thank our Honourable Secretary, Shri Hemanji Kalmegh sir, respected Dean, Dr. Nilesh Pardhe sir, Dr. Sanjay Patil sir, Dr. Juzar Rasool sir, Dr. Manisha Nagdeve ma'am, and Dr. Arun Sajna sir for their support and encouragement. Next, I would like to thank today's Masters of Ceremony, Amara Sayyeda and Ashlesha Arsade, for their smooth conduction of today's program. Next, I take great pleasure to thank our maintenance committee and the IT team who have worked behind the scene and made this event possible. And last but not the least, I thank all the teaching and non-teaching staff, postgraduates, undergraduates, and my fellow interns for being such a patient audience. Even though today's event is concluding, the program will be continued further through a series of lectures on 4th and 5th of December, led by Dr. Stuart Peter Harding and Dr. Mansingh Pawasar respectively. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We now come to the conclusion of this auspicious event. Thank you, everyone, for your precious time and presence.